Hi, I am Barbra Dillon, Editor-in-Chief of Fanbase Press. Given the impact of the Eisner Awards, their importance to the comic book industry, and Fanbase Press's own mission to celebrate fandoms, we have once again launched our annual Countdown to the Eisners coverage, where we seek to highlight the Eisner Award nominations for this year and provide comic book industry members and readers alike with the opportunity to learn more about the nominees and their work. This year, we are releasing 4 videos consisting of industry professionals discussing why the Eisner Awards are personally impactful, which nominee or nominees are the most interesting to them, why the average comic book reader should take notice, and how the Eisners might evolve to match our changing industry. Thank you so much for watching.
The Eisner Award nominations impact my work by basically giving me a lot more to read.
Eisners are very important each year because they seem to be a time of focus for the comic book industry.
When the Eisner nominations come out, we are always so excited at Comic Book Couples Counseling because for us, it gets the conversation flowing about what comics came out last year.
The Eisner Award nominations impact my work every year by providing a list of books that people are talking about.
There's a lot of diversity, not just in the types of stories and who's telling the stories, but also the categories. There's a lot of things that I know I wouldn't normally discover or maybe seek out. And I hope the same for, other folks who look at awards lists like the Eisners.
Obviously, it's not completely comprehensive of all of the books published, all of the great books that are published, but it is a good place to start when you're looking for a new reading list.
While it's just a list and it's just one list and one opinion, it's probably the most well-regarded version of that versus, say, Popverse's Best 10 Comics or CBR's Best 10 Comics or Fanbase's Press's Best 10 Comics.
I mean, I want to be part of the conversation. So when the nominations hit, I, of course, want to see well, how many of the nominations have I read? Do I agree with these nominations? But usually there's, a ton of comics that have not come across our desk yet. And those are the ones that I want to dig into immediately.
To look at the titles that this industry thinks they should be looking at, the stories that the industry thinks are the best stories to be told.
I like to peruse the award lists as a way to spot kind of trends, what's happening in that space, phenomenon that I may want to further explore or investigate personally through the librarian lens.
It's an enormous honor to have my work recognized and be listed alongside the other great nominees in the category.
As a journalist, the nominations each year really impact what we do.
When I'm writing for outlets that are focused on the comics industry, like ICB2, which is a trade publication, or Publishers Weekly, which has the section I write in is devoted to comics. That's one thing because it's an opportunity to use my inside voice and talk to people inside the industry.
At Popverse and at previous places I've worked, we've done stories about behind the scenes about what it takes to be nominated, what the judging is like, and things like that.
For Forbes, I feel like I'm bringing the story of what's going on in the comics world to a wider audience, to people that might not be as familiar with it. And I feel a huge responsibility for that, to make sure that the spotlight is on the right people, that the projects that may not be obvious get celebrated, because I know the impact that kind of media attention can have to creators in the industry.
They kind of give people a direction. Hey, check out some of these things. I always talk about curation, and we curate in the store, we curate on our website, and Eisner, when the nomination come out, it seems to be another method of curation for customers.
As a journalist, and as a comic fan, it's really helpful to help frame the conversation and point it at a specific area.
And I think that focus helps us. It helps my employees sell the product. It helps the stories to be seen, the creators to be seen. It helps some unknown creators to become stars.
In library land, we kind of think of the Eisner Awards as a first step must buy list for comics collecting.
The fact that they've been nominated right there, to me, means that there is value in those books, and I want to make sure that I have as many of them as I can possibly get into our collection.
I don't even wait for the winners. I just use what's on the nominated list.
I have to be aware that any Eisner nominated title or creator is going to have elevated attention. And it might require that I have to purchase more of those items because there will now be a spotlight.
We don't have a huge budget, so I have to be kind of careful, you know, in how I spend it because we have to get a lot of the really popular stuff. But I always find some real gems in the nominated list.
If I'm looking to do additional type of engagement with within Los Angeles Public Library, I'll see maybe are some of the authors local? Do they want, you know, do they do speaking engagements? Would they come to our library?
But the Eisner Awards are really helpful for me as an academic because it certainly illuminates certain options that should be in my own library in terms of my syllabus preparation.
As a comics librarian, I'm often asked for reading recommendations. Sometimes they're from readers that have absolutely no idea where to get, but many times they're from colleagues who are looking to stock high quality material in their libraries. So the Eisners are one of several reading lists that I recommend that people look into.
It really helps me to be more mindful about what I keep in stock, so to speak, for students to borrow from me. But it also really allows me to think about, for classes that I'm currently in the process of preparing for, how can I sort of best ensure that the assigned materials for my class are also as up to date as possible.
For my work at Comics Plus specifically, it's a great opportunity to poke our current publisher partner friends and say, hey, it looks like we're missing a couple titles, because I'm trying to put together an Eisner nominations award list for our homepage curation. And so it's a good time to address any gaps in people's content.
I don't always buy everything on the list, but it usually helps me catch things I may have missed or encourages me to consider a work in a way that I hadn't before.
Well, the Eisner Awards direct my work only in the sense that I want to win all the awards.
We start to see of course, people talking about it, people hoping that their publishers will get their work in front of the judges. Some of us even, you know, kind of in the back of our minds, hoping one day we'll be tapped to be, you know, one of the judges, one of the evaluators, because I think that's a really important place to be.
I really haven't had a chance to claim an Eisner as my own yet. I have my own personal indie queer comics EGOT, so I have the Ignatz Award and the Bisexual Book Award, but I'm still missing a Lambda and an Eisner. So we'll see if this is the year.
So it's a reminder of the fact that we still have a lot more work to do, and in my particular corner, it's more work to be done bringing awareness and visibility to Latino comics, their creators, and the important scholarship that goes on in and around that space.
So it's just a great overall resource for a public librarian.
So yeah, I mean, it's the Eisners. You always got to pay attention.